Love talking to this man. Always makes us smarter. Always love hearing his perspective. He's a 2-time Super Bowl winner who's also got a tremendous podcast called Green Light Podcast. I was on it last week. I hope I did not bring down the downloads. Chris Long back here on the Mercedes-Benz Vans phone line. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. You helped us with the download.
Oh, did I?
It was a little Rich Eisen bump.
Little bump. Hey,
yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Let's just jump into it, man. I started by saying the Cowboys play like that, they win the Super Bowl. What do you think?
Well, yeah, if they play like that, they do. But, it's the ebbs and flows of the season, man. Last week losing to Green Bay, blowing that lead. And, they put it all together. And I thought this was one you could see from a mile away. If you're like a Minnesota fan, I think you knew this was going to happen. I just didn't think you knew it was going to be 40-3. Like the way y'all Jets fans know something's going to happen. I feel like Vikings fans know in like a different way. And this was free money, man. If you were on Dallas, because it's just that pass rush. And as soon as Darisaw went out of the game, and you got to worry about that if you're the Vikings, like 2 concussions in 2 weeks, and then you got a short week this week, so he's not going to play in that game. It just makes such a big difference playing against this front. Micah Parsons is scary. I know there's some people that are around him statistically as edge rushers in the NFL right now, but it's just when you're seeing your first action and you're that backup tackle and you're staring across from you and you're looking at Micah Parsons, it's just unfair. And same thing on the other side. Lawrence was great. They hit him 9 knockdowns in the first 23 plays, 6 sacks. Yeah. It was just a dominant performance. And Tony Pollard, not just big hole. He's hitting the big hole for 70 yards or whatever it was. Like, he had a bunch of yards over expectation. He adds a different element. And then Zeke still gets his touches down by the goal line. So Dak was perfect, man. He was really great. And I just can't believe this was once a conversation, Cooper Rush.
That's right.
Dak, the whole thing. It's wild what can change in a couple weeks or months in the NFL.
Look, and I know you had the chuckle of, it's tough to play like that consistently in the NFL. And I'm like, if they play like this, they win the Super Bowl. But why can't this be in the realm of what the Cowboys do consistently from here on out, especially if Odell Beckham saw that and he goes, I'd like to join it? Why not?
Well, that's the crazy thing, because, Odell comes out a couple of days ago and says, like, hey, New York or Dallas, right? And you couldn't have seen 2 games go any different yesterday. And he's needed so much in New York. I mean, they lose another receiver yesterday there, and they were already so thin. But he would also fit pretty nicely in Dallas. And as you said, one of the reasons the Minnesota loss is so frustrating, the 2 blowout losses for them, and them being, I think there are 146 teams that have ever been 8-2. And, they're the only ones with the negative point differential at this juncture. And the most disturbing part about that, because I don't think winning close games is a bad thing. I really don't. But I do believe in the value of looking at the point differential. These 2 blowouts, they're not just bad, but they're the 2 teams you got to beat in the NFC. So, if you're the Vikings, you look at this team, whether you think they're 1 and Philly's 2, or whether you think it's the other way around. These are the 2 teams you got to go through. And it's not like, Kirk is a trusted commodity in the playoffs. But, we haven't seen a big enough sample size. So it's kind of scary for Minnesota to find out what you found out about yourself this Sunday. And then you got to go play the Pats on a short week. Like, what are they going to do to Jefferson? That's going to be really interesting, how they're going to take him away. And how will they respond up front? Because they're going to see a whole different kind of ball game where pressure's manufactured and the scheme's kind of crazy and the whole thing. But, the Cowboys are really good. I don't know if they're the best team in the NFC. I don't know who it is. I mean, and yesterday the Eagles didn't look great, and they missed Dallas Goedert, and, they were making adjustments. But that defense stepped up for them, too, in a different way. So that Christmas Day game, I don't know, like, if there's a Nielsen rating, like, kind of over-under it could break your TV set. I think it's going to be such a big game on Christmas Day between Philly and Dallas.
Chris Long here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's hit what Zach Wilson said after the loss in New England. And obviously the special teams just broke. I mean, I don't know how the hell you punt down the middle of the field with mere seconds to go. Just punt the damn thing out of bounds and go into overtime. Certainly with the way that the defense is playing. 12 sacks of Mac Jones, 6 in the first loss, 6 in the second loss. And Zach Wilson, when asked after 9 completions and 10 punts if he's let the defense down, says no. How does that sit with the defensive side of the football, do you think, Chris Long?
Not good, Rich. And I think I try not to like really go at guys from where I sit, like in the media or whatever, because I'm a former player and I've been there and that sort of thing. But I have zero sympathy for Zach Wilson, like less than zero, if that's possible, because it wasn't like, hey, did you let the defense down? No, I don't really want to go there. There's a lot of ways you can answer that question. You can say no without being so flippant, just short about it. And it was like, no, next question. And, if I'm Garrett Wilson or I'm Mims or, there was a play in the fourth quarter when he overthrew Mims in the flat for like the second time in that game. And, they cut away from Mims, but he's palms up. He's like, what the hell is that? And same thing with Garrett Wilson. I mean, Orlovsky posted something today on Twitter, I think from the end zone tape. And you could see Garrett Wilson frustrated. And then you've got your wide receiver, your rookie wide receiver, delivering that kind of monologue after a game, and that's what you get from your quarterback, like the face of the franchise, man, like really shameful, man. And, I don't like to be hyperbolic, and I know like everything we do now is such a big overreaction, but when you couple it with, and I watched all his throws to make sure before I got on the radio this morning or got on my show and absolutely lit him up, but like he was bad. And I know it was windy. I know it was cold. Like I talked to a couple guys in New England, and they said it felt like it was the teens, and the refs' pants were blowing everywhere. You could tell it was cold. But Mac Jones, and I know it was a lot of layups, and I know the calls aren't great, but he was able to hit his targets. He was able to hit his gimmies, and the wind was blowing the same for Zach Wilson at the end of the ball game when. And this is what drives me so crazy, Rich. Is like to start that drive where this is it at the end of the football game. We've worked so hard. The defense has busted their ass. I mean, whether it was Quinnen Williams or Lawson or, Franklin Myers or all these guys that came up with big sacks or 4th and 3, you get a big stop, or 3rd and 1, Quinnen Williams and Whitehead make it. They were heroic on defense. You got one drive to cash this whole thing in, man. And the first play, you're out of bounds on the sideline to Moore, and it's not on target, and he's off his back foot. It's like nonchalant, That's the thing that drives me crazy about Zach Wilson right now is like, the arm angle stuff, the mechanics. Like, I'm not a quarterback. I'm not a quarterback's coach, but I know some of this stuff looks unnecessarily nonchalant. And you pair that with what he said after the game, and it's shameful. And, if I was a defensive player on that team, I would have already had a conversation with him, because
what would you say? What would you say? What would you say? What would you say, Chris? Like, what do you say to that?
We're on live radio.
Huh?
I can't say what I would say.
Really? I mean, no, but can you clean it up? And what would the general gist be? Because something is going to have to happen.
I would say don't you ever show us up like that again.
Huh.
Because we got guys. This is a championship caliber defense. I've been on defenses, Rich, where we held Marshawn Lynch to 20-something yards rushing on a Monday night and lost, 10-6 or whatever. Like, that was our existence for some years in St. Louis. So I know what it's like when the offense doesn't hold up there into the bargain. But accountability goes a long way, and being liked in a locker room is important, and if you can't stand up there and be accountable, these people are going to eat you alive. It's the New York media market. It's just getting started. There's a lot of games left this season. And if I was Robert Saleh, and I love Joe Douglas, that's my dude.
Yeah.
They're in a real pickle because I look at this team and I'm like, Mike White, Joe Flacco, do they give us a better chance to win? Probably right now. Because, I mean, I know it's like Kill Zach Wilson Day, and everybody's like digging up all the stats and everything, but It's from Doug Clawson. Zach Wilson's first 20 career starts are a little too close to Jamarcus Russell's for comfort. Yards per attempt about equal. Touchdowns, interception, actually worse for Wilson. Passer rating right on par. And then, people making comparisons to Johnny Manziel. I feel like the vitriol would be a lot less if you'd stand up there at the podium and act like a man after the game.
Chris Long here on the Rich Eisen Show in his usual Monday spot. Chiefs best team in football? If you had to peg one right now, and I'm asking you because it's Sport Talk Radio. Chiefs best team?
Yeah, and isn't it amazing? I mean, it's just like, I really do. Last night, man, I was watching that game, and, playing the league for 11 years and now doing this for a living, sometimes, and maybe you know what I'm talking about, you lose your fandom a little bit. I watch it and, the business aspect of it from having played and also from covering the game now and trying to stay, neutral. Sometimes you don't really sink into a game the way you used to, and you don't enjoy it. I felt like a kid last night watching that game.
Me too.
And if I was Roger Goodell, or I was one of these people that made things happen, and Spanos and those folks down in L.A., they're going to pay Herbert, right? Even though they're known to be a little bit cheaper, but if for some reason you couldn't pay Justin Herbert, if there was a chance that he was going to escape the division, I would subsidize keeping him in the division because this is the best football. This we need this. We need this the next 10, 15 years. And it's just, I felt like a kid watching sports last night. It was just such a great ball game. And Patrick Mahomes is probably, he's got a killer instinct like nobody else in sports.
He does.
And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but Kyle played with him, my brother played with him. We were just sitting here this morning, and the way he describes how competitive that guy is, and knowing how competitive Kelsey is, and those two, I was sitting last night. I was like, is there a more fun quarterback, receiver, tight end duo at any point in the history of this league? For this span, I'm not sure. Because Tom and Gronk were fun, but it felt like father-son, These two, they finish each other's sentences. Half the stuff they do is nonverbal. And, they're so damn competitive. They're perfect for each other. And, that mesh route at the end of the game, they kill people on those crossers. And it's just, the ball he threw to Fortson was on his ear hole. It was like it couldn't be any better, and he's doing it with a cast of characters that's just, Kadarius Toney is hurt now. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as you got Kelsey and you got Patrick Mahomes, you're in any game.
I feel it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Down and distance doesn't matter too, right? It wasn't at third and long from inside his own 5-yard line. Yeah. Move the chains. Yeah. Now this kid Pacheco runs with a very strong manner. He brings it every single time. He runs very physically. Load, yeah. He is, and defensively we always overlook it because of the offense. Chris Jones is a beast. He's a defensive player of the year candidate. Frank Clark is back. Nick Bolton, I love watching him play. He's everywhere, man. A little bit too much sometimes, as we saw last night. But
no, Nick Bolton's fun, man. Nick Bolton's fun. We got some fun off-the-ball backers in our game right now that we get to watch. We have Fred Warner, Milano, the guys in Tampa. I think Nick Bolton's joining that group. He's not up in that upper echelon yet, but, he's been fun to watch.
Last one for you, Chris Long, here on the Rich Eisen Show in his usual Monday spot. I follow you on Twitter at Joel91. Couldn't help but notice this post by you yesterday, a handwritten note that you received, I believe, inside your own household.
In my bathroom.
In your bathroom, right? It reads, I poop in the toilet, Whoa. Toylit. You tweeted this out saying, found this in my bathroom this morning, and it feels like a threat. I agree. It looks like the words or else are missing. Can you give me? I
don't know what I didn't know Kyle came over this weekend. That's the weird thing about having a brother that lives close by.
Well, actually, my comment on it is I didn't know Zach Wilson wrote a note in your bathroom.
Not my fault would have been the note.
Do you have what's the background here? What do we got? What are we working on here in the Long household? What do you got?
My 6-year-old, man, who's about as accountable as what I saw from. Actually, more accountable, admitting that it was him.
Okay, and anything? What do you got? Any follow up? What do you got? No
follow up. We haven't even talked about it. He doesn't know he's on the Rich Eisen Show.
We're on Twitter. What are you talking about? So, okay, there's been no follow up. There's nothing.
No follow up. I don't want to poke the bear. He's shown he can do it once. He can do it again.
And then there's a note. Where did you find it? Where did you find it? On a sink?
Right on my back, right next to the sink. I woke up. I got to sleep in Sunday because I was up till 2 a.m.
Okay.
Sweating Utah, Oregon. Damn, that's just 10:30 is too late. It's too late. I got the laptop in bed.
Yeah.
I got a pillow propped up so that my wife doesn't see the glare.
Okay, good for you. Good system.
What are you doing? I got to admit to her that I'm betting the Pac-12 after dark. Hey, babe, Bo Nix is definitely out this week. I'm all over Utah, just like Josh Allen was out last week. So I got to sleep in. I woke up and I woke up to that note.
Fantastic. I love it. It seems like you got a great system going on in the household, and it looks like it's successful. Looks like you're doing the right thing here. Good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Who's on the?
As Zach Wilson could learn, you catch more bees with honey.
Who's on the pod this week? Who do you got for me on the pod this week?
We're working on a couple people. We're flying by the seat of our pants this week, Rich.
Okay.
And with Thanksgiving coming up, can I have a soapbox for a second before I leave the show?
Yes, sir.
Can we?
It is yours.
No more inside football on Thanksgiving. Make it stop. Every year, it's like 3 dome teams. You've got to watch indoor football. People are starting to come around on the injuries, but the viewing experience sucks.
Interesting.
Is that a hot take?
Well, it is because the Lions. I mean, this is tradition, man. I mean, and Jerry put
the Lions to host one. Just how about the other 2?
Jerry. Well, I mean, Jerry hosts. Jerry hosts the other. You're not telling who's.
Oh, get it out!
You can't tell Jerry. Jerry covered up the hole in the roof that supposedly was there so God could watch his football team from back in the day at the Texas Stadium.
Did you play backyard football on Thanksgiving?
Who doesn't?
Did you play the turkey game in a dome? Rich, you play it outside.
I hear you. I got it. Look, I'm picking up what you're putting down. They don't have to put the third game in a dome. That's true. They don't. They could
just give me something outside.
Interesting. Okay, I'll run that up the flagpole.
Yeah, but you're the only guy I know that could. So
hey, it's RES Consulting, Rich Eisen Show Consulting. We're on fire. We got Henry Winkler to the game last night, so that happened last night.
That's cool. Henry Winkler on today. That's
dude.
Cool.
He loves Mahomes. Mahomes heard it. He said let him come to the game. It actually happened last night.
That was cool. I saw the pic. All right.
Thanks for the call, sir. Good luck to you. Let's and not just on your podcast, but whatever's going on with you. What's your 6-year-old's name? Who's going boom boom? What do we got? Waylon. Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Glad to hear that it's all working. Good, and that he's accountable.
Yeah,
he's accountable.
Plumbing is working. Yeah.
Have a great Thanksgiving, sir. You be well.
See you, brother.
All right. That's the great Chris Long. Check him out on the Greenlight Podcast. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.